Oh, because you guys have a Templeton book,
Yes,
right?
on our brands.
And it has a brand on it. It has obviously a history of the Templeton and the first church and all that
Yep.
good stuff.
Well, that's the end of the line that was written by Al Wilhoit. I mean, that's sort of the quintessential history of Templeton. But Carla did some work specifically on the brands. And another thing I'm kind of interested in is thinking about what has happened since Al's death. We've had so much history that has happened since the 60s and beyond, and I worry that we're not really recording that yet. And so I might be calling you, Randy, and saying, hey, what do you remember, from the 1990s when you were a kid here? And did I age you too much? Anyway.
No, not at all.
And, just having a chance to sit and chat and share stories and record them so we get some more of the modern history. So that's a project I'm thinking of in the future.
Well, growing up in this area and, having, like I said, my grandfather ran the sales yard back in the day, when Madonna's yard was across, there's no houses, where the growth is. And so, you see that back then, the Templeton Parade, used to be, pretty, unique and, and just as it is still to this day, which is awesome that it's still going. And, but the town itself, even though it's grown, it hasn't. I mean, it still has, you go downtown, it's still got the old buildings, the old Hewitt's, building right across the way. I think that's their 1820s or 30s or something like that. And, you look at the Templeton feeding grain. You look at how that was built. It looks like somebody just had a whole bunch of 2x4s and stacked them all together. So there's a lot of history that, I'm glad that it's being preserved, through the museum, and people should really come down and check it out and look at the history of Templeton for what it is.
And I believe that Templeton has also retained its sense of community. Ever since I was a kid growing up here, it just was sort of a tight, small community. We lived in the country, the kids lived in town. We had different kinds of lives, but it was Templeton. We were proud of where we were from, and that has just expanded but been maintained by the people that have moved in here, that have come to love this place as much as natives like you and I.
David, did you grow up here too?
No, not at all. And I was just thinking how, Templeton proud, and Templeton goes way back. But I'm a relative newcomer to Templeton. My wife and I and kids have been in the area for, I don't know, since the early 90s. But very welcoming to outsiders and newcomers too.